Greetings, technology enthusiasts. I am Chandrahas and I am delighted to be here with you representing CyberBrainer. Do you not believe that the technology sector is advancing at an unprecedented rate, making this an opportune moment to acquire the skills that will facilitate your progress? With CyberBrainer, we are empowering you to take control of your own future. At CyberBrainer, we do not merely impart your interests. We assert that information is power, yet it is the application of knowledge that distinguishes you. Our courses are meant to equip you with essential skills, whether you are pursuing data science, understanding artificial intelligence, or delving into cybersecurity. Let us commence the session and seize the future today. Thank you.
Now I'll take you through these two items, connections and map folders. We were talking about the integration tool. To establish integration tool with the communication with the system, first we need to have connections. For this system to communicate with the API or database, we have already. System Kronos will create your default connections here. What you need to do is, we need to note it down. This particular system will have SQL Server database or Oracle database, whatever is used by your organization, mostly it will be SQL. And also the integration manager which communicates with them. That's what we call it as API for both of them. For once we are doing an initial implementation, we need to put those details here in the Kronos. What database we are using, and there will be options. Here they have chosen custom, so they will give it directly here itself. They are using SQL Server only, but they have chosen custom and they are directly putting the details directly here. They will give the URL and what is the driver they are using and username password. For mostly the username would be, this is for the DB password would be different for each. We need to have this here. Only then this system will automatically communicate with DB. What happens is in the backend, the Kronos has around 60-70 base tables. SQL tables are available in Kronos. For each Kronos comes up with a server and a database. And then integration, tools and other things are optional. They can be used, they cannot be used, but these items comes with that. So whatever we do here, we are making a change in the setup that will be stored in one table. We are adding a punch to an employee that will be stored in one table. Like that. There are 70 to 200 tables available in Kronos. We can create more if needed, but each item is stored in one table. Like example. I cannot show the table, but I will show you an example. So if you see here, you see there are like C database table to locate employee logins. So there will be a table which will note all the logins and logoffs of employees. Similarly, there will be a data table to check what are the people tab. Whatever the changes has happened. I can show you the table. I'm looking for a document where what are the fields is there. Okay, let's start with this. This is the base table for Kronos. There will be E for each Kronos instance. For whoever is using, there will be a person table. There will be a punch in both table. What is the person? Table means whoever is in the Kronos. They will be loaded to database with all the people details. Whatever you have will be coming as each column in the DB. Okay, similarly for each, let's say whatever the setups approvals we are creating, there will be a separate table, accrual profile, what policy attached to it, what are the round everything. They will have a separate row, and for accrual ports, there will be a table. So for each item, there will be a database in the background. So how we are establishing that connection is through this. So once this connection is created, we can test it also whether the communication is there. A testing connection is exceeded. So the system is currently communicating the DB. So Whatever the changes we make, the database will be updated automatically. So whatever the changes we do is stored somewhere in the database. The changes we do, the new creations. The deletion activity, everything is recorded in a DB. What we are doing, that log is also recorded when we are doing it. There are different tables like that, so this is where the connections is established. Through this connection, it will go. Similarly for the integration, so this is the default integration we use, Workforce Integration Manager. So here we give the password. This communication is enabled. Then in the Integration Manager application also, we need to give the same. So this and that can be communicated. So these are like the network. How we are communicating with the system of different parties like database, like interface integrations. So this is where we define those connections. And then in the server, we didn't have any database connection. What are the things that we are creating or we are changing something? Where is that data going to go to? It will go into base tables, but we will not be able to see it. We don't have permissions to read or write. Yeah, only for whoever is maintaining the. Once you work as a Kronos, like this is a test instance, right? They will let you access. So if you are in a project and you are an experienced resource, you will have read and write access. If you are a new resource, they will give you read access to the DB. So I'll probably try to give you the document. There is a proper documentation. What are the tables? What rows will be there and what is that type? The proper SQL details will be there. I'm trying to find that only. That will be helpful for you. Let me see. When we are purely functional, only the configuration part will be doing. And the separate resources will be there, like for the integration part, right? Mostly it will be there. Like I am working like a shared resource, like both will be doing. There will be separate roles, although, but there will be people who are doing both. Mostly, if it is a big team, they will have dedicated resources. If it is a small team, people will be cross working on both items. Like the techno-functional type of roles. But it's good to know both. SQL. For this you need pure SQL. Integration is not a big thing to learn, but you should have a very good knowledge on SQL. I mean, what about time implementation? Like if we have the Kronos Central, they should cover everything, right? Yeah, time implementation means like that's what Kronos is about. Kronos implementation is time implementation. That basically defines what Kronos is all about, right? Yeah, time management implementation is what Kronos is about. What we are doing. Whatever we are doing here is time implementation, like what Kiran is asking is about. Kronos will help you in implementation, okay? But after that, if there are any external integration, they will give some basic integrations. But apart from that, most companies go with the customization. They'll have a number of integration. They need to have different types of data like pulled and loaded, and they need to view it. As well as they will connect DB and get a few more data. So in those cases, integration managers need it. Integration manager can connect, communicate with the Kronos and also communicate with the DB. From here it can pull data and load it in the system itself. Some other model can pull data and it can load it within the system itself. It can load from the third party from here to that party. All these things happen. So let's say if we have like some accrual profile or something already created for like one project, right? So now I get another project similar to this and I know their requirement or conditions are similar to this. Can I like load what I have to the new project? To minimize the time or something like that. Depends on the if you're working for the same company. Then we need not to do anything. We can duplicate and create it in that instance itself. We need not to migrate. If you're using the same Kronos, there's a requirement to create a new integration which is similar to the other one. We duplicate and make the changes. If you are using this instance and you want to move that integration out to another instance, then it depends like whether they have that confidentiality to not move what they have to the other third-party system. We will not be able to do it. If you are a service partner, if you are working for two clients, you can take one integration and copy it to other. Maybe you can see the logic and do it separately there. That's different, but we can download and upload it to the other client system. There is an option to do it, but the company will flag it as a violation. Right. So a lot of the time, I was just like looking into like what companies are hiring. And majority of them are like right now. They're saying like time implementation consultant. That's like the title. Time implementation consultant is like Kronos consultant. Yeah. What happens? It is basically Kronos, right? Yeah, it's Kronos, and maybe they might be using some other tools as well, but majorly what is used is Kronos. And in that, the majority of the role, whatever we are doing, is covered up within the system. In the integration and the database connection, these are the two items that are outside this. Integration is along with the database. Only that part we will not be able to cover within the system. Okay, so for that role, there will be specific job opportunities like integration consultant. They will put it like that some places, most places, they will look for a functional consultant. And in some places, they will look like both. They will ask for knowledge. Right now, what is happening is Kronos is doing majority of the integration work. During the initial duplication, they are getting the draft and doing majority of the integration work. And after that, maybe they might be slightly customizing the existing integration. That they might have a general consultant to do it, or also some companies directly go with Kronos itself. Again, integration is different for different source. For Workforce Integration Manager is purely for UFC. This is sort of Workforce Central which we are using. The Diamond Service UNK RAN are talking about right. They use a completely different tool for integration, Delboomi. They use Delboomi for like EKG dimension integration. So even if you know Workforce Central, it's of no use when you apply for an integration consultant for dimension because they use Delboomi. So each suite has a different integration tool. And it's not like Workforce Integration Manager Delboomi is not just limited to Kronos. It is used across different applications. So here what we have is in under data analytics, we have map folders. So we can have a number of folders created here. It depends on us, but statistically what we will have is bmn and bmote. Okay, these are the server parts for that. In the server under C, under Kronos. Under this interface designer, this is the default path for these two folders. BEM, bmut. These are standard folders which will be available. We need to map it to the system. So during first implementation of Kronos, these folders Kronos will help us to create, or we can do it on our own. Like, if you want to change the path, we can change it up. But these two are for folders in the sense. Whatever inbound integration we are using in the Kronos, the file needs to be placed in this. Inbound means we are getting an input file from a third-party system. And we are placing it in our server. And from there, our integration picks up the data and loads it into the Kronos like person input. We are getting the person details from some other system in a file, and then we are loading it into the application. So those inbound integration input file needs to be placed in this. Similarly, there are a number of output integrations where we will fetch the data from Kronos and will give it to as an output file to some other third party like payroll. We will pull the time data from our Kronos and will give it to the payroll. Accrual balances report, we will pull the data from here and will give it to some third party system to do some analysis. So all the output files for the integration which we are running should be directing to the path we want. So these two are the standard paths. These are folders actually. This folder is for the input files. This folder is for the output files and Kronos. So why I'm taking you? This means some companies. They will not give you the server access, but they will give you FTP access just to do these two folders. So you are aware of the FTP accesses, right? These folders alone you can access through a particular URL. You can access the files or whatever folders inside this you'll be able to access through that FTP access. So these two things, they will give you a separate FTP access to put the input file and to take the output file from like when an integration completes. One question like the SQL Server is used to generate the custom reports, right? Yeah, for custom reports also it's used. Like as I said, can all the data will be stored in DB. Whatever we have in the system will be stored in DB directly from DB. There is no way like directly from Kronos, there is no way we can define some condition and extract it. There are limited conditions, but DB we can play like anything, right? We can give any condition and filter out the desired result based on what columns we want. Everything we can specify, right? Custom report is like that. Even if they ask some questions on custom report, what we need to say is we have a tool for that. Apart from integration, there will be a small tool specifically for reports. Okay, in that what we need to do is source will be SQL coding. So we need to put these columns by filtering, putting these conditions whatever METS does and joining these tables. This is the final output we need. Okay, we need to type that query, that's it. Once we type the SQL query, then we need to map, okay, which column should map to which column of the report. That's it. Yeah, but I'm aware of that. Like, I have an idea of like when I work for it. Yeah, you can mention. You can confidently mention like, custom reports. Only thing you need to say is there is a tool called SSRS tool. Okay, we use that to create custom reports. What you need to say is, but like, we will use that like thing. We will just put the sources SQL query and then we'll get the reports. You say SRS report. A lot of companies use it. Yeah, mostly. Some companies just go with the default reports. But some of the most companies, they go with the custom reports also. And there are different ways in that. Some places only Kronos take care of custom report. Some places customers are also eligible to work on the tool. So if you know SQL, you can confidently put that. You can put custom report. It's basically what we do in SQL Server. We will put queries and we'll get the results in a rows and we will get the output right in the SQL Server itself. Same thing. We are printing it in the Excel or PDF. That's what custom report does. It should start with select query. That's the condition because we are going to display something right. So it should have a select query. That's the condition. So custom report, it may not be like it should be here. There will be separate folders for that. There will be separate reports folders where it will be directly stored. So what we need to do is for custom reports, I'll just give you a heads up how we are doing it. We will create everything in the SSRS tool. And we will give you a file name to that right. Whatever reports we create, we'll give a file name to that. So that file name we need to add here. In common setup, there will be report setup. In this report setup, there will be different inbuilt reports. When you are creating a custom report, you need to go to custom options. Here currently nothing is there. You need to click the new. And you need to give the name here. What report name you have created in SSRS? The truth alidil is the extension for report. Okay, only that we need to give and save it out. These are options which we choose when we are running the report right. Whether it should be a date and time, like if you're running the report based on some data type or based on some string, we can define it. Whatever the custom report you create, you need to put the report name here and save it out. Could you show how do you bring the report? You said to get the report. Here we don't have SSRS tool. I can just only give you an idea how it will be. Like example. Yeah, see, this is the custom reports. Nothing is there. I cannot show you anything, but this is how the normal reports would be. We will create a report and we'll just give the file here. File name here. You can see here right the report. File name accrual balance projected. So this URL is what we created in the SSRS report. These are default reports. We cannot do anything but custom reports. We will create and give a name like this module, and then we will give our descriptions and then what will be the default time period. There will be options to choose, but what will be selected in the first? And does it requires hyperfine query? Hyperfine query means to run a report. We can select right this option. All access. Let me show you. Let me log in again. Okay, yeah, it's open. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.